Welcome to the Working Tools Podcast, a casual conversation about Freemasonry. Tonight, we're happy to have Most Worshipful Brother Mark Forster, the Grand Master of the province of British Columbia and the Yukon, back for episode number 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, brethren all, welcome to the Working Tools Podcast, a casual conversation around Freemasonry. First, it's important to note that our thoughts and opinions are our own and do not reflect those of our Grand Lodge or respective craft or concordant bodies. Please connect with us and ask questions via our website at theworkingtoolspodcast.com.
Thank you, Steve.
Welcome. And tonight we have our usual panelists, very worshipful brother David Colbeth from Solomon Lodge number 160 in Washington, and brother Craig Graham from Kalamalka 160 in beautiful Vernon, British Columbia, just up the road. And of course myself, there's very worshipful brother Stephen Chung from Prince Charles Lodge number 153 in Kelowna. Unfortunately, tonight we're missing our regular panelist, Matthew Appel. He's doing the dad thing and taking his son off to college, or university, and so he's busy doing that. So we're thinking of you, though, bro.
I'm going to cut you off here just a minute, Steve. I just realized I missed it on the last show, and I didn't say anything. And I don't know when you would have been given when this changed, because I know we've recorded since your annual communication. You have a V in front of your name now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
The Grandmaster alluded to that. I thought, he just was being nice and just said by mistake. And congratulations, very worshipful. That's excellent. By the way,
Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, they decided to trust me with a pointy sword, but lots of my brothers are saying they finally figured a way to keep me outside of lodge, right? Being the Grand Tyler.
Who in their right mind would have ever done that?
Right? I have this thing, and I think a lot of the times they say, "Wait, is he ever going to sit down?" Because I do a lot of talking in lodge, right?
No,
but usually, usually it's very good, informative things, though. I'm sharing information or education or telling them about one of the projects that's underway. Guaranteed, I'm standing up under most good of the craft and sharing good, positive information. So, it is my honor to be the Grand Tyler this year. Thanks for noticing, David.
Well, speaking of good information, I am almost speechless, which I know these guys don't believe. Grandmaster, your message was incredible. It is incredible. And as I was reading through it, I thought, there's no way we're going to get through this in 30 minutes, but we'll try. I mean, I have several comments on the margins about things that, in our other conversations, we would spend 30 minutes just talking about a paragraph of these things. So good luck tonight. We'll see how far we get, but what a message.
Thank you.
So Mark, how many years have you sort of been forming what you put into your message, thinking about it, and what you said and how you want your year to shape up as Grandmaster?
Well, that's a very interesting question, but the first thing you find out that you have to do when you want to run for the Grand South is you have to basically write some stuff to the brethren. And then you get to go to Grand Lodge and you have a 5-minute speech at Grand Lodge. I didn't get that opportunity. COVID hit. And so I had to write my speech probably 6 months before Grand Lodge so they can mail it out to all the brethren in the jurisdiction, along with all the other candidates, and be able to have a mail-in vote around the province around that. So I really probably started thinking about some of this stuff. I'd say I probably started thinking about a year before I put my name in for Junior Grand Warden. And I didn't tell I told one person that I was thinking about doing this. And that was Most Worshipful Brother Donald Stutt. I called him and I said, I'm considering doing this, and I'd like to seek some of your input and advice, and I'd like you to tell me, like, be frank, like, is this something you think that I could do? Would you support me? And he was very encouraging and gave me a lot of good ideas, and he encouraged me to keep going down that path. So, away I went and started to work on all of that sort of stuff, and come up with some ideas of what areas that I thought could use some improvement or some change. Then once you're elected, the first thing you have to do is go to Haida Lodge on Vancouver Island. As junior Grand Warden, you have to give a speech at Haida Lodge, and it is expected that your speech will basically tell them what it is that you plan to do in your year as Grand Master. And I'm thinking to myself, how the heck do I know? That's like, I just got elected like 2 months ago. How would I know what I want to do in 4 years' time? But you have to start thinking fairly early. I think the other thing that you really got to keep in mind is when you become Grand Master, you have a very busy schedule. You're traveling around the province, meeting the brethren from all the different jurisdictions. You are dealing with various circumstances that might arise throughout the year. You are doing surprise visits and helping out at lodge. You're a Mason still. My first visit at my lodge in Kelowna, even I said I would like to participate in the degree. They conferred an EA degree, and I said I would like to have a role in the EA degree, and I participated in that degree for that. But the whole point is that you're working up your plan, and if you don't accomplish something before you become Grand Master, nothing will be accomplished. It has to be in the works before you get there. You have to have made the changes you want to see, and in order to see the results of that. If you try to put a committee to work in your year at Grand Lodge or as Grand Master and expect that committee with 1 year to come up with the results that you wanted to have, it most likely won't occur. So you have to basically use the resources that are already there. And one of the things that's been working very well over the past quite a few years is that the Grand Line work very well together, and they share ideas and they communicate. And when I saw an opportunity of something I would like to see, I would reach out to the Grand Master, and they didn't always agree. Sometimes I had to go find other brethren who agreed with me to put my case forward for me to convince the Grand Master of the day that this is a good way to go. This is the right thing to do. And so, during this process, I was able to accomplish a few things already before I came along. And some of those things I allude to in my letter, but one of those was the 5-pillar plan, which was a plan put together many, many years ago. But under COVID, it kind of fell by the wayside. Not because it just got ignored, but so many other issues came up that it kind of got forgotten about. And then we started changing Grand Masters, and once you've forgotten about it for 1 or 2 years, it's lost. And so we had to get that back on track. And that 5-pillar plan, it's not an all-encompassing strategic plan, but it does lay out some of the mandates that the brethren have voted on or have asked occur within our jurisdiction. And so it's important to know what did the brethren ask for? What do they want to have happen? So we can help. It's really my job to sort of provide the guidance and the motivation to our committees and to our brethren to continue to work on those initiatives that the brethren have asked for at Grand Lodge. If that makes sense.
So a lot of that work that goes into what you've been trying to accomplish has really been in place for 4 years, and I've seen and I've made note how the Grand Line works well as a team, and they have the objectives to help each other carry on their their wants or the programs that they're trying to put in place throughout the years, and it's quite a supportive team. I've been really impressed with how the Grand Line has done that and kept that going. Because I before you guys really started doing that, I don't know, from a I guess an outsider's point of view of just going to Grand Lodge every year and then seeing the one guy comes in, goes out, and then some things change, and it's really that cohesive team that you guys have put together with following everybody's plans year after year has been very, very, I think, powerful to the success of our Grand Lodge.
Yeah, and it's not really about following everybody's plans year after year. Yeah, you know, we have meetings of the principal officers. We get together, we discuss the various ideas. I have had a lot of ideas that I would like to do in my year, and I would discuss them with my deputy grand master, the senior grand warden, and now the new junior grand warden, and try to get their buy-in or their input and feedback on it and customize it so that the goal really is that I don't want to start something in my year and then next year the Grand Master comes in and says, I don't like what Mark did, and starts all over and does something totally different. So there has to be a give and take. I might not always get exactly what I want, because what is the point of starting on an initiative that you know that your successor might not want to do? So those initiatives, they don't have support. So we don't go after those. There's no point in chasing an initiative that doesn't have support to build on it and to keep going. So I think that's what works well in working together. And actually by doing that, our initiatives become actually stronger and better initiatives than what one person might come up with all by themselves. So that's the teamwork in making that happen.
Now, is that, kind of like where the magic comes from?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Is, we get to the part of your address where you released your theme, which was the magic is you. You want to elaborate on your theme?
Well, I can tell you how it came about to start with. My wife and I got on to Tony Robbins' 5-day all-intensive online Zoom session, which we paid for so we could be in the smaller group that was directly dealing with Tony Robbins and his team. There was 1.5 million viewers of this program when we participated in this 5-day program, but there was only about maybe 600 people that were actually in the actual Zoom group that were actually paid participants. Everybody else, they couldn't provide input or anything. They could just watch. So we did this, and I got to tell you, I walked out of that thing, rah rah rah, go go go. I was hyped, and I came up with my theme. I was ready to go, and my theme was unleash the Freemason within. That's a Tony Robbins thing, right? Unleash the power. It was unleash the Freemason within. That Freemason is in each one of us. It's here. And if we don't show the world our Freemasonry or our Freemason, who we are and why we're a Freemason, how will they ever know? Right? And I took this theme, unleash the Freemason within, and I went to an esteemed brother, Wilson Beckett. I don't know if you guys know Wilson Beckett, but Wilson Beckett is the brainchild behind the civility logo. If you've heard of the Civility Initiative and you've seen the civility logo, that is Wilson Beckett's design. He came up with that for the Civility Initiative. And I said, Wilson, here's my theme. What do you think we can do with this? Well, leave it with me, he says. And he went away for a few days, calls me up and he says, well, I'd like to talk to you about your theme. Okay. And the first words I heard, I didn't like what I heard. He says, I don't like your theme. That's it. I don't like your theme, he says. I said, oh God, Wilson. Okay. What are we going to do about that? right? Because I said it is about the inner you. It's how you portray yourself. It's how people see you. It's how you feel. And, I don't want to, my theme is not really much different at the end of the day than any other past Grandmaster's theme. You could take every past Grandmaster's theme that exists today, say their theme, and then throw mine right after it, and they go together, right? But even last year, we had a super year last year, and the theme was talk, act, think, and feel like a Freemason. The magic is you. It just flows together. So, to be honest, the magic is you. Wilson came up with that for me, and I loved it. So I started working on that for a bit, and I asked Most Worshipful Brother Philip Durrell to write a paper on it. So he said, well, what's your theme about? I said, just the magic is you. I said, I don't want to tell you what I think about it. I want you to tell me what that means to you. And so he went and he wrote a paper, and I had him present that paper as the keynote speaker to the incoming district deputy grandmaster seminar for our incoming district deputies. It's very interesting because on my way to the seminar, I wrote my paper and what I was going to say at the district deputy seminar, some of which you've read in my paper now. It's a little bit more elaborated here, but the message was the same. And I stopped by Most Worshipful Brother Durrell's house, and I said, I just want you to read my paper that I'm going to be presenting to the district deputies for my year. And he's reading it, and he's like, oh, huh, oh, wow, huh. He gets to the end of it, and he says, it's pretty much what my paper says. So I think we might have nailed something there, because it is. And I went online, and I gotta find this book here. There it is on my shelf here. After I came up with my theme, I said, well, surely to God, I'm not the first one to talk about this. And I don't know if you can see this.
The Magic of Freemasonry
By Major Arthur E. Powell. So I'm not the first. I found this afterwards. This was written in 1924. This is not a new idea, the Freemasonry and the magic of it. And really, it's at the end of the day, it's what we learn. It's what we learn in each one of the degrees. And if we practice what we learn and we take that away and we show the world who we are through Freemasonry, we can sure have a lot better relationships with each other. We can listen to each other. We can hear each other. We can respect each other. And it works in all parts of our life, whether it be at work, at school, at home, anywhere. So that's kind of the gist of this. And to take it one step further, I kind of think to myself that we are brothers and we work together. So it's not just about each one of us. It's about helping each other. So it's not just an individual thing. It's also collectively. Together, collectively, we will help each other to be better people. And then the magic is up to each one of us. And so that's why I say the magic is you. Hopefully that helps you with that.
So I take it then, Mark, you're generally quite positive about the direction we're headed right now, and the sort of the shape and the strength of the institution in British Columbia.
I think we have a very strong institution here. I think that we have a lot of lodges operating all over the jurisdiction. We have a good number of solid brethren all over this jurisdiction that can help it to continue to grow. We have seen a lot of good things coming out of COVID, if you will, where we had a lot of people petitioning us or asking us about Freemasonry. Really, it's our job now to engage those brothers or candidates and to encourage them to continue down the path. My biggest concern is we let the new brothers down because we don't engage them or we don't listen to what they want and need.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's our challenge, is to listen to those brothers and bring them into the fold. I'm not talking about changing what we do or how we do it, but just engaging them and listening to them and working through all of our degrees and our processes, and maybe even more beyond degrees, but encouraging a little bit more fraternity with each other, a little bit more conversation. I always wonder to myself, how can we call ourselves a fraternity when we meet once a month, or some lodges meet twice a month, and that's it? You see your brother once a month or twice a month if in some lodges. Does that really make you brothers? Is that really a fraternal organization? I belong to Rotary. We meet every week, and we have events like at least twice a month. Maybe, it's a different organization. It's not that that's a fraternity, that's a service club, but they're a very close organization. That the group of people there work very well together.
But you see, depending on where you are, right now, in District 9, and we have District 10 just adjacent to us here, which makes it easy to visit. I mean, last year I averaged 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
So,
we see that.
We get the fraternal aspect by the privilege of visiting other lodges.
Yeah.
And doing work with the other lodges and participating in their activities and their degrees and whatnot. So that's I mean, everybody says, at the beginning, it's only one meeting a month, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, that depends on, if you're putting into it what you want out of it.
Right? And you know what, Steve, you're right. And every lodge is different. And if you've got the right group of brothers in lodge who are getting out and visiting, or they don't even have to visit. You don't have to go visit other lodges. Just get together with your own brethren. And, it's not always that easy. If you're in a remote lodge, you can't just get up and go visit tonight or tomorrow because you want to. It's a 5-hour drive or 6-hour drive to the next lodge meeting. But you can get together. We have lodges that get together on a very frequent basis, and some of our remote lodges are really tight, and it's not just the members, it's their families. They get together every week. They have movie night and movie and popcorn, and every week they have dinners together. Every potluck dinners, everybody brings something out to go on the potluck dinner weekly. So there are lodges that do this and get everybody involved in the community to do that sort of thing. And I think back to some of my earlier days in Freemasonry. There were always 3 or 4 guys that went visiting, but they were the same 3 or 4 guys always. Right? Some of them tried to encourage others to come and join them, but we need to do more. I think we need to do more to encourage our brothers to get together with each other, and that's the engagement, right? We have to engage everybody.
And the bonus to doing that visiting with the other brothers is the carpooling. That's where you get to really know some of them and hear all the really cool stories and of their travels and the Masons they've met around the world. And it's pretty interesting. That's the part I enjoy, is that the brotherhood that you build in the traveling together. Right?
So you have that unique advantage in District 9 and 10 that you do that, and you work with each other up there, and that's fantastic. And I know that I used to travel from Vancouver up to the outdoor meeting in Kelowna, and I would bring a van load every time, right? And there would be 4 to 6 of us in the van, and we would be bonding and traveling and getting to know each other, and that's all part of it, and you develop lifelong friendships. And I think that's what it's about. It's not developing a relationship where, you're a Mason and I know you're a Mason and I know your name. It's actually getting to know your brother. Who are they? What do they do? How can I help you? All that sort of thing. Right?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Grandmaster, I put as I was reading your education piece, I just was so impressed. Your focus. I wrote the word love next to it because I just love this focus of different ideas. It's sometimes when you're master or whatever education officer, sometimes you think, gosh, what are we going to talk about? Because there's this breadth of Masonic ideas that it can be hard sometimes to pin down one idea. Like we have a problem with the show sometimes. Hey, what are we going to talk about, guys? What's our focus going to be for the year? And so to have somebody say, this is what I'd like you to talk about, especially from quality leadership point, and then we can have the idea that all the other lodges hopefully are talking about this. And so this is the communal discussion we're having in our jurisdiction. How did you come up with that idea?
You know, I for me, education is, I find it's an important part of our craft. You know, if we're going to go to a meeting, we can't just go to a meeting for the sake of just showing up and holding a meeting. We've got to make it worthwhile to the brethren that are coming to be there. They're not coming there to listen to the worshipful master talk. So we have to make it interesting. I'm not talking about making it like Toastmasters or anything like that, but more iterative, where you could talk with each other and get each other's opinions and listen to each other about what they think. And the first part of my recommendation was, it was about the Freemason within. It's about you. It's about what makes us who we are, and why do we do this. And I felt that all of those lessons come out of the entered apprentice degree. That's where we lay the foundation for what it means to be a Freemason. So, you know, how many brethren delve into what that really means? They go through the degree, they do their memory work, and they move on to the next degree, but they may not get an opportunity to go back and talk to anybody about this stuff. And I know we encourage people to talk to this, you know, a brother about the degree, but why not talk about it as a group and hear each other out and learn each other's ideas about what this means, and share our experiences. The other two ideas I had in there, they're showing that it doesn't have to always be Masonic education. We're a group of men that are getting together. It seems to be that men's health should be an important thing that we can talk about together. My dad has Alzheimer's. My uncle had Alzheimer's. My mother has dementia. I know brothers who had Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and all that sort of stuff. We saw it coming along. We got frustrated with the brother because he would never shut up in lodge. We didn't figure it out until 20 years later. Oh, he had Parkinson's or he had Alzheimer's, and he was impacted by, his health was impacting his ability to participate in the way we thought he should participate in lodge. And we didn't recognize this, and we didn't have a way to help him. I don't know how to help, you know, somebody going through that at this stage. I know how to recognize it. However, having experienced that with both my father and my father-in-law, and seeing it, I'm able to spot a problem quite early now. But the problem is, there's no easy way to tell somebody that you need to go see a doctor, you know. So the only way we can do it is by building trust and talking about things with each other and learning early. And, you know, if we learn early about these things together, maybe down the road, if I was experiencing some issues and I trusted you enough, and we knew about these things, and you came to me and said, Mark, you know, I noticed you were having some difficulty last night in this area. Is everything all right? You know, just to be able to chat with each other and be able to, you know, you might want to go talk to your doctor about that. You know, that's where the Alzheimer things comes in for me. Yeah, I think that we can help ourselves earlier rather than waiting till it's too late. Because there are things you can do to slow the disease down. You can't stop it, but you can slow it down if you recognize it soon enough. So just start to understand those. And there's other health issues for men, prostate cancer, heart disease, and there are things we can talk about and hopefully help each other put programs in place for each other to learn. So that's a kind of a learning experience around that. And the other item has always been our charitable work. And most in the past has been quite traditional for the Grand Masters to have a charity, and the brethren around each of the districts go out and they raise money. The Grand Master arrives and they present the Grand Master a check to give to his charity. And, unless the Grand Master has a super, super substantial charity that is of interest to all the brethren in the jurisdiction, he's lucky to raise $15,000 to $20,000 from 22 districts. 300 here, 500 here, maybe 1,000 here, but it's not a substantial amount of money that's being raised that I'm going to go give to, let's say I give 15,000 to the Alzheimer's Society because that interests me. I really don't feel that 15,000 is going to make a difference. But I feel that if each lodge took what they did for charity and any extra work and things that they did and added what they might have otherwise put together for the Grand Master's charity to what they already do in their lodges or their districts, they could make a difference locally for something, whether it be a food bank or it might be a local care home or an organization that helps people with dementia. Make a difference at home. And you know what? Get recognized for that. Call the organization up. Say, hey, we would like to make a donation to your organization. There's 3 of us that would like to come down and present you a check and maybe take a picture with you that we can publish on our website, or maybe you'll publish it for us on your website, to show that we support you. And that puts us out in front of our communities. And it's up to us to do that. If we want to do that, we have to do that. We have to ask for it. And it's a starting point. So talking about charity, some lodges are all over charity. Some lodges don't feel charity belongs in the lodge. That's not what we're here for. Charity is fraternal only, right? So I'm not going to tell any lodge what charity means or what it is. But I think a lodge as a whole should know what it means to their lodge, right? You got a group of brothers together. Do your group of brothers want to do some charitable work? Or do they not want to do it? Or if they do it, what does it look like for them? So that's all I'm encouraging there is to chat about it. What does it mean to your lodge? And that could tie all into our lectures about charity and everything else. So that's kind of where I came from there. And you know what? These are not the only topics. These were just some ideas that I came up for the year. And I thought that I would just divide it up into 3 sort of segments and then promote it. Hey, for these 3 months, let's look at, if you have time to put one meeting aside to talk about this, great. And if you have other things you want to talk about for education, that's great too. But it was just some suggestions to help guide some guys, or, it's just a guide to help get started, and it will grow from there.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think sometimes those subtle ideas that help a brother or help a lodge to succeed to the next step are very important. May seem subtle, but to those of us in the field, so to speak, having a quality leader with a succinct message and enthusiasm to back it up, as I've heard speakers say, that's where the magic happens, to tie into your theme. And with those things, I believe you'll see a change. You'll see brethren adapting and accepting your message. And it will happen, as I often say, again, as if by magic. So I love your theme. I love the idea of it. I'm a Tony Robbins fan too. So, but anyway, Grandmaster, thank you so much for joining us again here and talking about your message and your year. And as Steve would often say, if you have any closing comments, we'd love to hear that. But also, if throughout the year, I didn't even offer this to my Grandmaster, but if throughout the year, if you have something else that you'd like to talk about, we're not necessarily a podium or a platform, but we certainly would like to help and facilitate any message or whatever you might have throughout the year, if if we can help in any way.
I appreciate that, and I will definitely keep that in mind. And as Steve said, I've been busy doing a little bit of traveling over the summer. Quite a few outdoor meetings on the island and in Granite Falls down in Washington State, and a few lodge picnics here and there. And I think I'm off to another picnic. I think in Ashcroft, if the fires will permit me to get there. And then we've got some special events coming up soon. We have a 100th anniversary coming up in Kamloops for Mount St. Paul Lodge coming up in early September. And then we got something unique happening. Steve's been working on a Robbie Burns dinner in September. That's coming.
Well,
Nice.
it's different time of year because we're not celebrating the normal Robbie Burns stuff. We are celebrating the day he was raised to the sublime degree of a Master Mason, which was October 1st. And it just happens that it works out so good that we get a full complement of a piper band, no problem finding the dancers and booking them in, the Highland dancers, because they're not doing all these other events. So it's working out really good. We're oversold, and we're gonna have a good old night that night. It's Black Tie Affair.
As if by magic.
Yeah.
You know what I like about that is it is magical, and it's different. It's out of the box. Who would have ever thought about doing something different like that in the past? You know, this is something new. It's the same theme, but just changing the date is going to be magical as we look at that. So I'm really looking forward to my year traveling. I think I going up to Whitehorse and Dawson City on August the 29th. So I'll be up there for 5 days in gold country, we'll call it. But I'm really looking forward to that, and meeting the brethren up in the Yukon. So that's going to be a fantastic trip, and then it just goes after that. It's back to back, everywhere. So I got a great team of guys that have taken on roles as Grand Lodge officers this year, and we have great committees. We have some new faces in some of the committees, and some new ideas for some of the committees. So I'm hoping that we'll see some good progress made this year.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic year planned and schedule, and busy as well, I'm sure. But well, thank you again, Grandmaster, so much for joining us here. And on behalf of Stephen and Craig and the missing Matt Appel this evening, I'm David Colbeth. We appreciate you spending the time with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks on behalf of the Working Tools Podcast. Good night, folks.